So this morning, shortly after 8 a.m., Captain Jodi Seagle, who was operating a sheriff's vehicle unmarked, was had left his residence en route to the sheriff's office. About 45 minutes away from his residence, he observed what appeared to be a unoccupied vehicle parked off on the side of the road on a private drive that actually led to nowhere. He actually turned around, went back to investigate further. As he went to exit his vehicle, he was struck from behind with what appeared to be a piece of rebar. He was struck several other times. A fight ensued between he and the suspect that moved in front of the patrol car and between the suspect car and the patrol car. It was later determined this individual had actually came out of the woods and behind the patrol car and came around the patrol car. On the fight that ensued in front of the patrol car, the individual was able to break loose, get to his vehicle. Seagle still on the ground, concerned about being backed over by the suspect, actually released 4 to 5 shots from his weapon, sheriff's office weapon, issued weapon, into the suspect vehicle. Right now, the only thing we have to go on is a white male, approximately 6 foot tall, white t-shirt, black shorts, and work boots. Tattoos on both arms and possibly a skull tattoo on his left neck. I'll open up for questions. The suspect vehicle is possibly an older model Buick passenger vehicle, possibly tan in color.
Anything that we have that may identify this individual, we have to get license plate information, anything on that vehicle before everything went down?
Right now, we're just relying on you guys pushing the information I just gave you out, along with our social media posts, to the citizens to actually help us bring this individual to justice. This was a unprovoked, vicious assault where this sheriff's deputy was en route to work today, exited his vehicle and was brutally attacked and assaulted and is still in the hospital. And it is our desire to have this individual in custody and off the streets before someone else falls claim to his actual threats. Yes, sir.
As far as the injuries to the deputy, the press release made a point of saying it was not life-threatening. We call this a vicious attack. We've been hearing language that it was a brutal attack. Without going into too many specifics, can you tell me about the extent of his injuries?
I will not go into his injuries. He's still hospitalized, but I can tell you this, that by the grace of God, he's still with us today. It could have been life-ending, but he did return fire into the vehicle when he feared for his safety of the individual actually making it back to his vehicle and thought that the individual was actually going to back up on him. He was still lying on the ground, basically being struck numerous times, several times with the piece of rebar, totally unprovoked. It's just senseless, totally senseless.
Sheriff, you mentioned the suspect came out of the woods. So was he living in the woods or the car, or do you have any indication why he was in the woods?
It's a fluid investigation right now. We do not know. The suspect car was there in the drive. It appeared that no one was in the car, and Seagle never made it out of the patrol car other than one step before he was actually struck from behind. It was later determined this individual came from the wood line that was adjacent to beside where the patrol car was. It came around from behind the patrol car, and actually, Captain Seagle actually never seen the individual coming.
And for clarification, can you spell the deputy's name for us?
Yes, it's Captain Jodi Seagle, S-E-A-G-L-E.
J-O-D-Y?
Jodi, J-O-D-Y, first name Jodi, last name Seagle, S-E-A-G. Yes, sir.
As far as we've noticed at least on the way there and also on the way to here, there was a noted law enforcement presence around that area. I would assume that you guys are still looking for this guy, A, but also B, are you looking at anywhere specific? Does any place specific here in the county need to be aware of either A, increased deputy patrols that are out there, or is there any area that you're concentrated on right now that people need to be aware of that they need to pay attention to?
Sure. you got the greater Cleveland County area, you also have the western Lincoln, the southern Burke County, because we're right there at a tri-county corner, which Burke, Cleveland, Catawba, and Lincoln all come together right there within a mile and a half of each other.
So you could be anywhere.
Yes.
Your biggest concern with this individual, what's your biggest concern?
Number one, that he's vicious, but he attacked an individual this morning that was in uniform, unprovoked, and it could have easily been life ending for the sheriff's deputy.
And to be clear, because it was an unmarked car, there was no way for him to miss the uniform.
Absolutely not. He was fully dressed in a full uniform this morning.
So the suspect should have known this was a law enforcement
He knew.
officer.
He knew. There's no doubt in my mind. He knew when he struck Deputy Seagle, or before he struck Deputy Seagle, he knew that it was a law enforcement officer.
That beat this morning, because when you're working, I guess sometimes is it beat around, or was he headed straight to the sheriff's office? You know what he was doing?
It was probably his normal routine, if there is such a thing, a normal route to the sheriff's office. Would have been probably for him to pass exactly where he passed this morning where the assault occurred.
Any indication as to whether or not any of this was caught on any dash cam or body camera video? And you guys are going to be reviewing.
There's no cop, no sir.
So
That's why it's so important for you guys to actually push this information out for us.
And just to be clear here, as of right now, because as a result of the totality of the circumstances, you have no idea who this guy is, too, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, sir.
Your call to action to the public, I take it. What is it that you want the public to do?
To assist law enforcement in apprehending this individual before he commits another crime, either to a civilian or to a law enforcement officer. It goes to show that he has no regard for the safety and welfare of any individual in North Carolina or anywhere where he's at.
We haven't asked this question because we assume he's doing well, but Deputy Seagle, can you talk to us about him?
Prefer not to at this time.
But non-life threatening, can we say if he was transported to the hospital?
Yes, he was transported. He's still in the care of a hospital, local hospital.
Sheriff, you mentioned in the release that was this morning, possibly bullet holes in the car. Has that been re-examined, or is it still possibly? It's still extremely fluid. We feel as though the car was hit, the suspect car was hit numerous times, several times at least. But we'll know more once we have that car in our possession, how many times it was hit. And any possible injuries to the suspect? As far as for people to know, there may be a man limping or car with bullet holes.
It's possibly he could be injured. He could have been hit by Captain Seagle. If he wasn't, I hope that he was.
Your message, somewhere out there, there's a guy out there, who knows, from your perspective, who knows what he did. What's your message to that individual?
Turn yourself in as soon as you possibly can. Call the sheriff's office at 704-484-4788.
Can you tell us a little more about Captain Seagle himself, outside of basically what happened this morning, a little bit about his employment history, your personal experience as well?
Yes, sir.
Or I guess to that question, just how long has he been in the department?
I do not have the hire date with me.
Okay.
I take it, in a situation like this, you have to make a difficult move, and that is to go and speak to family or visit the hospital. Have you had a chance to do that? And what do you say in a situation like that?
We're here for you. As far as family members go, you notification of family, next of kin first. Offer them a ride to the hospital, whatever they may need. I haven't personally been to the hospital yet. I've been on the scene where this actually occurred in the general area. And it's overwhelming. I can only imagine if it had been worse. The answer to your question is, just right off the top of my head, he's an 18-plus year veteran with the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office. Prior to Cleveland County Sheriff's Office, he was employed by Shelby Police.
And I take it, with someone in 18 years, then we're probably in a situation like this where he's on the ground, he's helpless, so we're probably looking at training that may have made a difference. Can you talk to me about what, if anything, we know about how prepared he was for a situation like that?
Well, he was extremely prepared because he survived this attack. He survived this vicious attack from behind by his instinct kicking in of actually moving the confrontation closer into him and putting that individual up in front of his patrol car, in between the two cars where they actually went to the ground. And then later on, fearing for his life that he would be possibly backed over by the suspect vehicle, was able to discharge some rounds at the individual.
Has the SBI because it's still sort of investigating?
No, sir, Sheriff's Office.
Just so.
Yes, sir.
I also worked at, since Deputy Captain Seagle did fire his weapon, would NCSBI